Now, I guess let's move on to the Rams topic, since you guys were so excited for it earlier. Von Miller, the eight-time Pro Bowler and 2015 Super Bowl MVP, has joined forces with Aaron Donald in the already highly powered Rams defense. Obviously, Vaughn isn't the same guy that he was back in 2015, but the Rams certainly think that he can be a piece that kind of takes them over the top. Obviously, they gave up a second round pick and a third round pick to get him in this year's draft, actually, to get him. So my question to you here, Brandon, how much does Von Miller actually improve this Rams defense?
First of all, to add to the trade, the Broncos are retaining 9 million of his $9.7 million contract. So the Rams are essentially paying him nothing
Oh,
for
wow.
this year. So I don't know who fleeced that, but they essentially bought a draft pick. That's what happened. You're right. Vaughn is not the Vaughn of his Super Bowl MVP days in 2015, obviously, but they don't need him to be. You have Aaron Donald, you have Leonard Floyd on that offense and that defense, sorry, and then you add Von Miller in. Teams used to build entire game plans around him, so he was the one getting double covered. Entire systems were built around stopping him. Now that defense is too loaded for you to build entire game plans around him. And obviously, you don't need to do that anymore. But now he's going to have a lot of one on one coverage, which is a lot. So his life's about to get a lot easier because on that defensive line, who do you think is going to get more double covers, Aaron Donald or Von Miller? Probably Aaron Donald. So he's going to have a lot easier time doing his thing. He's not going to be, full plans around stopping him. So I think he's going to flourish because he doesn't have to be the number one guy. He can rely on the other guys on the field. So I think it's good for him. Um, I think it's good for the Rams. They're already stacked. This just sort of adds another piece, and they're not afraid to go get veterans and throw draft picks at the problem. Um, I I think most quarterbacks are going to hate to play that team even more now than they did before.
Jen, how much does Von Miller improve this defense, and how far can they go with this change right now?
I think I think Sean McVay essentially sorry, triple mortgaged his future with the Rams to give Von Miller. I mean, looking back at his draft picks that he's done since he's there were some terrible fucking first and second and third round picks that he chose. Um, Notably, just naming a second round pick that he chose last year, Tutu Adwell. Have you ever heard that name with the Rams?
Nope.
He was their second round pick last year. So Sean McVay knows his weakness is that he can't decide which players to draft because he sucks at it. Same thing with the GM. So essentially mortgaged everything to get Von Miller. Um, but also it's gonna put him at a disadvantage because you might not be you're gonna get some great value when it comes to the players, but the most important things as well is that you can't fulfill in free agency is rookie contracts. So if they screw up this year, they don't make it to the Super Bowl or win it, or at least to the NFC Championship game, then they have lost this trade for sure. Essentially, the Denver Broncos spent $9 million to buy a second and third round pick. It's most likely like a third and fourth round if you think about it. If the Rams are going on the run, they're going to be at the lower Tatum pole of the draft picks, the draft orders. Um, so it just seems like they're trying really hard to be at it, but also Von Miller might be good, but he's most likely not going to play every single snap. I mean, he did sit out last year, due to injuries and everything. So there's always that injury proneness that comes with an older player. God forbid Von Miller goes down for the rest of the season. The Rams essentially, sold the picks for pennies on the dollar.
This team is Super Bowl or bust. Like they've mortgaged all of their draft capital to get the team that they have right now. I don't think, Jen, maybe you can verify this, but I'm pretty sure their next first round pick is like 2027. Um, because of the series of terrible decisions that they made to get the team that they have. My all-time favorite has to be that they traded up to get Jared Goff, who they took before Jalen Ramsey was drafted, and then they traded for Jalen Ramsey, and then threw in some more picks to get rid of Goff. So they've just sort of created this train wreck of throwing away draft picks to get players that they want, that they missed on the draft in the first place. But they don't have a lot of drafts, period, but they definitely don't have a first round for a long time. So if they don't win a Super Bowl this year or next year, they're going to end up with aging talent and no draft picks to replace it, and they're going to suck for a very long time after that.
Don't forget the salary cap as well, because all the older players would carry a higher salary cap amount. So There could be in the same situation as the Saints is having a projected negative $50 million against the cap next year. So, and that does not include the voidable contracts that's coming from Taysom Hill, as well as Mr. 30 for 30 there. And plus all the other, they're essentially buying to, it's essentially Super Bowl win, or even if they win a Super Bowl, great, congratulations, you mortgage the team, but you're going to suck for the next 10 years. Von Miller's a free agent after this. Most likely, if Aaron Donald goes into the Super Bowl and win it, he's going to command a higher market value. And same thing with Matthew Stafford. And these are all aging players, so your window is very short. Effectively, what they're doing now is, they have a burning house. They somehow manage to, add more fuel to the burning house while trying to sell the house at the same time. So at the end of the day, it's all going to collapse down, and Sean McVay is going to be looking for a new job somewhere else if they don't, if they don't win Super Bowl in the next, let's say, 2 years.
Yeah.